Good morning and welcome to Heart Mooresville, your small town radio show with a big heart. I'm your host, Christine Patterson, bringing you all the Mooresville news and happenings. And we've got guest co-host Alyssa Anderson. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Alyssa Anderson is the Experience and Engagement Marketing Manager. She's the one that is sharing all the great events and fun things that we have going on. So always look at mooresvilleevents.com and the Mooresville Arts and Events Facebook and Instagram pages to find out all the cool events coming up. Yeah. We also have two very special guests with us today. Mr. John Dodson, the VP Business Alliances and NASCAR at Universal Technical Institute. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And Don Miller, founder and chairman of North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. Good morning.
Good morning.
I always love talking to you all. You guys have the best stories. So thank you for joining us today because we're going to get to hear some of those stories today. But before we get into all of that, we like to keep our listeners informed within the news. Okay, so one story that I wanted to share is Mallard Head Golf Course just sold. So you guys know Mallard Head, right?
Yeah.
Gosh,
There many times.
46 years it's been around, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 173-acre course that winds through Canvasback and Stutz Road in Mooresville. And for years, there's been speculation about when it might change hands. Are they going to sell? Are they not going to sell? And would it remain a golf course or be converted to housing? Would you prefer that it's stays a golf course?
I prefer a golf course. I don't think we need more houses and apartments. And
Yeah.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I think we need more golf courses.
Yeah, I agree.
Just take a ride down 150. We don't need any more.
Yeah. So we think it should stay a golf course. Well, the wait is over. So after 46 years, the course was recently purchased for $4.28 million. And it will, in fact, remain a golf course.
Yay.
But it's going to be under a new name. So the new owners have rebranded it as Lake Norman Golf Course, and they have big changes in store. The new owners are Fundamental Global. They've already started major upgrades, including improved fairways, new tee boxes, enhanced greens maintenance, and a brand new fleet of golf carts. So the clubhouse is also being fully redesigned into a modern space so they can have social events, dining, gatherings. Membership is being refreshed, so there's going to be more tournaments, community events, family-friendly activities on the calendar. The club's new general manager is Gavin Arsenault. He was the former GM of Trump National Golf Course. Yeah, so he's kind of switching hands there. And he worked at Rock Barn Country Club and Spa, so he's got some experience. But he'll be the new GM. The company Fundamental Global also owns Lake Norman Racket and Social Club, which will soon be opening Lake Norman Pickleball Club. And I know we need some more.
That's out at Mazeppa.
Yeah, I know we need
haven't
pickleball.
Played pickleball yet.
You have not played
What?
pickleball yet?
Oh my gosh,
I'm
you have to
waiting
get out
to
Oh,
there.
we got to get you out there we're going to go to the pickleball club because that's the thing in Mooresville, especially if you're retired. But I don't know if you can call you retired. I don't think you've ever stopped working.
I got a little of that from my wife this morning.
Yeah, you can only play pickleball if you're retired, right?
Yeah,
So
I guess.
you can't play
That's
unless
right.
you retire. Also, now this story is a couple weeks old, but I have not had time to mention it. But I always like to point out when people from local win the lottery because it just lets me know there's hope.
There's hope. It's big money out there right now.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know. So a man from Statesville won $1 million on a scratch off from a Harmony store. It's $1 million on a scratch off. That's not, no, you don't hear that a lot.
No.
So it was a $10 scratch off ticket. He bought it at the gas station in Harmony. His name is Travis Wilhelm. He's of Statesville. And he said he's been playing the Emerald 10 scratch off game since it debuted in April. It's part of the NC Education Lottery. Now, he bought his $10 emeralds at the Fast Fills on Harmony Highway in Harmony. And so we know where to get the winners now, okay? Harmony Highway in Harmony. But he said that when he went to the headquarters of the NC Education Lottery on Monday to claim the prize, he was given the choice. So you can either take the $50,000 over 20 years or the lump sum of $600,000, which, I know taxes, it's got to be taxed, but $600,000 is still a lot of money.
According to how old he is he going to live 20 more years? Does he want to take that?
That's a great point.
The big point.
Give him a chance, too, to buy some more lottery tickets.
There you go. I'd take $50,000. Like, yeah,
I mean,
So it's at $50,000 a year
A
for
year.
school? Oh,
for 20
okay.
years.
Okay.
for 20.
it's paid in full that way.
Yeah.
But of course, you're going to have your taxes deducted
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
But the big deal here is the upcoming traffic jams in Harmony.
Oh, very true.
Ooh.
That's a great point.
That's the big deal. What are
Yeah.
we going
Yeah.
to do about the traffic jams? Because everybody's going there to buy
Everyone's
a ticket
going to
now.
That's right.
Fairfields
Yeah.
now.
That's
It's like
right.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I catch a fish on this
It's a
side
good
of the
spot.
pier, everybody moves to where I'm at.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but that's where the winners are. You got to go, man. You got to go. Also, the police department will be upset with me if I don't give them a shout out. So, Mooresville PD is hiring right now. They've got several open positions. You can visit mooresvillenc.gov and click job opportunities to see all the open positions that the town of Mooresville has. The town of Mooresville is hiring in general, but the MPD have several open positions they're trying to fill. There's a $2,000 sign-on bonus right now. $2,000. That's a lot of money.
That's pretty good.
Also, it comes with benefits, of course, medical and dental, and then 401k, retirement, pension. You get 13 paid holidays, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Sick time, vacation leave, all the things. So they have a very good benefits package for officers. And one of the cool things is you get to work with us to put on great events like Mooresville Motorsports Celebration. Who doesn't
Hey.
want to do that?
I'll tell you what, that's it.
That's right. That's why you want to sign up and be a MPD officer, because you get to work with John and Don and arts and events team. But that's mooresvillenc.gov. You can see all of those opportunities. And then couple events coming up that we just want to get on everyone's radar. So North Carolina Music Hall of Fame. We're going to talk a little bit more about it after a couple segments, but it is October 16th.
Yes.
At the Mooresville Performing Arts Center. So last year it was at the
Charles Mack
Center. It's back over at Impact, that we call it, Performing Arts Center on the Mooresville High School campus. That's a Thursday night. So technically tickets are sold out right now, but there will be one final ticket drop. And you can stay tuned on the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame web pages, their social media platforms. You can also look at Mooresville Arts and Events social media platforms and the mooresvilleevents.com page. We're going to be putting a press release out soon that will kind of advertise that final ticket drop date. We'll give a countdown. We're going to give you plenty of notification about it.
And then you have to be ready.
Yes.
Because those are going to go fast.
They're going to go very fast.
If it says 12 o'clock, I don't know the time. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
11:58.
Yeah.
Be on that site and refresh.
Yes. Be online. But last final ticket drops. There's going to be a couple hundred tickets. So, get that, take advantage of that final drop, because you get to see many inductees, including multi-platinum recording artist Luke Holmes, perform right here in Mooresville. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to John and Don about the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame and what we got coming up. All right. We'll be right back on Heart Mooresville. And welcome back to Heart Mooresville here on WSIC News. We're talking with John Dodson of Universal Technical Institute and Don Miller, founder and chairperson of North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. Again, thank you all for being on with us this morning.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, one of the things I want to talk about is what the museum is, and tell people who haven't been, and I hope people have been, and I think most people have been, but for those that maybe aren't as familiar with the museum, tell us about what the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame is and has.
Well, as you know, it's a motorsports museum, but it's not a stock car museum. It's any type of automobile racing that has been done in the state of North Carolina. Anyone that has ever raced here could be a member of the Hall of Fame. So it's multifaceted. John knows because he's on the board of directors, and we've had quite an experience. From when we started back in we started back in 1993, but we didn't really open the doors to the public until 1994.
Wow.
And Bob Ebert and his daughter Cecily were the people that were the nucleus. Bob was a real factor in the Rubbermaid Corporation, way up high in the echelon, and he was a good businessman. He came to me one day when we were at Penske Racing because we were just starting Penske Racing South, and
Wow.
Bob came to me and he said, "You know, you're in this racing thing," and he said. And there's nobody around here with all these race cars and everything. There's no place to show the people.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, what would you do about it, Bob?" And Bob, Bob, he goes, "Oh, all right, well, you got to put in my basket." And I said, "No, wait, you brought it up, and I think it's a great idea, but how would we go about it?" He said, "Well, first of all, we'd have to have a place to do it." So we went back over to our
To the
park there, and there was an old tailpipe factory. This place was there for years. They built tailpipes for the over-the-road tractor and trailers,
Oh, wow.
and it was filthy.
Sure.
But the building was really, really sound. And Bob said, "Well, buy that building." And I said, "We're going to buy that building?" He said, "Yeah, you can clean it up. It won't take long." I said, "Hey, Bob, this would be a partnership. What do you think?"
Yeah, Bob.
But it took us about 6 months to get it cleaned enough to start building it. And we started building it. And before we even had cars, and there people were coming in and saying, "What's this going to be?" You know how small Mooresville was back then. Yeah. And we started building on it. And we got it to the point where we're ready to open. A lot of the racers came to us and said, "Could I put my car in there?" "Oh, yeah, of course," because we didn't have any cars.
Yeah.
And so we started off with about 10 cars, and then started to grow and grow, and it exploded. I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable what happened in less than 6 months. And that's when Bob turned to me and he goes, "This is really great, Don." He said, "Look at all the people that are coming here." And he said, "One thing we ought to do is think about what it can do for the community." Well, that never even crossed my mind. I was up to my neck with the race team, and we're trying to win races all week long and on the weekends. And so I said, I don't know what we can do." He said, "Well, I think one thing you ought to do," of course, the key word was you, John.
There's a theme with Bob.
That's right. And he says, "I think you should go to Raleigh and talk to him about getting a charter." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Get the charter, use the name, do it properly. We could be the North Carolina automobile racing facility." And he said, "We'll come up with some names." And John can tell you then, that's at that point, it started to snowball.
Wow.
It exploded. There were so many people there. We could, that little park was just, when we'd have an event there, they'd have to close the road.
Right.
The city would come and they'd close the road. People came, they just blocked the streets. You couldn't drive down them,
Yeah.
And
we'll make parking.
Yeah.
and like we were talking about earlier today, back in the 90s, that was that was when the baseball strike happened, and that's when NASCAR just absolutely exploded.
Right. Yeah, it was a different time for sure. And I've attended many of those events out at the museum, and you're right, they were packed. And John, you've been a part of North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame, of course, on the board, but been a huge supporter of the museum. And how did you kind of come to be involved in that?
Well, I knew Don.
We were racers.
We were racers. We were racers, and I was with Rusty Wallace and with my brother Barry. We won the championship in 1989, but then we were splitting up, and that's when Don was starting Penske South, and we elected not to go with Rusty and start we had a different opportunity. and we started another race team. But Don, we already knew each other. We'd been in the same pits and with Rusty and Victor Lane because he was from Miller, working with Miller, and he is a Miller.
And I supported him every week.
Yeah. And then it wasn't long after that till I decided, to take a career change and start the NASCAR Technical Institute. So I was the first one hired there to design the NASCAR program. Nice. And then I was made community relations director. With that, you give back to your community. And immediately my first thing was to engage with the Hall of Fame because we're the NASCAR, the NASCAR Technical Institute, getting volunteers over there. So Don and the staff are just like, and I, started buying a seat at the table for the presentation and things like that. So then Don asked me to be on the board, a little while after that. But laying in bed one night, I thought about the Walk of Fame. I got back from Hollywood, and I saw their Walk of Fame, and I'm like, why don't we have a Walk of Fame for our race car drivers?
Yes.
Yeah? So I went to meet with Don.
And then we got a hold of, I can't even think of his name,
Ron Johnson downtown. But I went to meet with, I said, I just told Don, I said, will you give me permission to pursue this?
Yeah.
Because it would be the Hall of Fame. And he said, I give you permission. Go look. Well, and then we got Ron. And then 5 years later, we put our first 10 emblems in the sidewalk. It took 5 years.
It took a long time, like John said, to get it all rolling. But if we back up just a little bit here, was it when I was talking to Bob Ebert, it must have been about a year after we opened the doors. And Bob Ebert said to me, this is wrong. And I said, what's wrong? I mean, everything's going great. And he said, no, it's wrong what we're doing. He said, this should not be ours. This should belong to the community. And he said, let's make this a nonprofit foundation, which took about a year to put all the paperwork and everything together. But that's how it became a nonprofit. And that's when it really became a community project. You know? And, the things that Hall of Fame have done for the abused children in the Carolinas, both Carolinas. I mean, we've gone south with a lot of things. John, whenever it was a big disaster, we were right in the middle of it. So
it's a true nonprofit.
Exactly.
It's a true nonprofit because not one person gets paid.
Yeah.
Everything is run on volunteers. Our time's volunteered. All the staff, we couldn't do. None of this could happen without all the volunteers and staff. But, we give dollars to Pharaoh's Parenting.
Yep.
We have Stocks for Tots each year that raise those dollars. We've raised over $1 million over the years to do that. We were both at the very first Stocks for Tots in 1989.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Standing at the War Memorial, and you talk about a traffic jam in a town.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
In 89, it was a monster.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, but that one evening was so wonderful. But Mr. Knox, who was the
old mayor, Knox.
The mayor,
he calls me up and he said, "You need to come into my office. This is the day. This is like the day after, And old Joe, he was such a character, And he goes, "Miller," he said, I was listening to you when you said you weren't going to make a mess out of this town and there wasn't going to be scrap iron all over the streets. He said, "What the hell did you do to my?" And he said, I had to get extra police in there. And it was phenomenal.
It was a production.
Yeah.
You could not move. You could not move or breathe in that building that night. There's so many people. And then 37 years later or 30, whatever year we're on.
37 years. Yeah.
Wow.
We're still doing it. And the Stocks for Tots is now we had it, on the streets, like he said, in the park for years. Then we had it at NASCAR Tech for years.
Yep.
Then COVID, and we kind of put it off. Now we're back downtown Mooresville.
Yeah.
So we're bringing it back to downtown where the sidewalk is. And we always need a neutral site where all these drivers will come. And I'm Toyota, I'm Ford, I'm not coming there. So that's always good. And I want to go back to our volunteers. Nobody makes a dime there. And that's why it works. And Sue Wallace, who's there, she's the kingpin. She's the real heartbeat.
She's everybody's boss, I think.
That's right.
I think
we call her Aunt Sue.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I love first of all what North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame represents in our community. I mean, even when I first moved to Mooresville and started getting involved with the community, I'd say NTI and the Auto Racing Hall of Fame were two of the first organizations I found out about. Oh, you need to connect with these people, even if you're not in racing. I mean, just connect with these people. I love that, it supports our racing heritage, but then it also gives back to the community, that is it's for. So it really is, truly just a good representation of Mooresville. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to take a short break. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the event and more about the Auto Racing Hall of Fame. All right. We'll be right back with Heart Mooresville here on WSIC News. And we're back with Heart Mooresville here on WSIC News, talking with John Dodson and Don Miller, involved in the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony happening on September 30th in downtown Mooresville. The event's from 4 to 7 p.m. We have a short clip.
Meet the 2025 inductees into the North Carolina Motorsports Hall of Fame. Greg Biffle, 19 NASCAR Cup Series victories, champion and 20-time winner in the Xfinity Series, champion and 17 wins in the Truck Series, and an incredibly wide-ranging career in ARCA, Stadium Super Trucks, IROC, and more.
To be recognized by the Motorsports Hall of Fame is going to be special for me, my family, my kids.
Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man, 18 Cup wins, many wins in the Xfinity Truck and ARCA Series, countless awards from Rookie of the Year to Driver of the Year.
This is the heart of NASCAR, and the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame and Museum has been here for so long, and it's really cool to be a part of it.
Bring the family and help us celebrate as Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman are added to the prestigious Auto Racing Walk of Fame in downtown Mooresville, September 30th from 4 to 7 p.m.
Was 2025 North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame 2025 inductees Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman. Wow, two very accomplished, racing legends. Tell us a little bit about why you chose those two inductees this year.
It's not so much, as John can tell you, it's not so much of what we think. It's all the information that's pumped into us continuously. And at some point, we have to say, look, all these people are actually nominees, right?
Yeah.
And because we know them all personally, at the NASCAR side especially, but it becomes a little bit overwhelming,
Yeah, there's so many good,
the prospects,
people you want to get in there. Right.
But this year, I think 2025 is really something to think about. When you look back at that particular time in NASCAR, that was the height of NASCAR's successes.
Yeah.
The baseball strike happened, and the momentum of the racing just started to accelerate, and even actually in the late '80s it started. But in the 1990s, it just exploded, and we look back and think about it, and Biffle and Newman, they were right in the middle of it. That was when it was all going on, know, and it was kind of really funny because our two shops, people don't even know this, but our two shops were side by side. And it was just a little wooden fence between them, but that little wooden fence was about 7 feet tall. And on one side of the fence was Penske Racing. Yep. On the other side of the fence was Roush Racing, right?
Yep.
And Biffle was Roush, Newman was Penske, and we used to do our pit stops in that area behind the shop. And so we would know whenever they were going to go out and have their pit stops. And Buddy Parrott was the worst one when it came to this, because I used to try to keep a little bit of order, but at the same time was laughing my sides out. They were like little kids. They'd hear those guys come out. Biffle will tell you, they'd come out and they'd start their pit stops, and Buddy Parrott and that gang would be over there throwing water balloons over the top and landing on their car while they were trying to do the pit stop, and vice versa. They were sending bottle rockets over when we were trying to do ours. And I mean, it was anything to keep the
The time
momentum
up, right?
going.
Yeah.
Race teams have been notorious for pranks and pulling
okay.
pranks on each other, and
I love that.
even internally, the things we did just in our own
Mhm.
shops, and it's always been good fun.
Yeah.
You race against them, and you don't care for them on Sunday, but they're always part
Yeah.
of your family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely see that the drivers, I mean, whether they're competed against each other or not, I mean, the community is definitely strong. And I think one of the things that's nice to see, I mean, when tragedy strikes and, whether it's Hurricane Helene or, even other natural disasters that have happened, the racing community steps
Right
up.
there.
Yep.
And we saw that, so definitively with what happened with Hurricane Helene and Greg Biffle.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about, his efforts there.
I can try to a little bit. His efforts was so much to talk about. I can't get it all right now, but
Yeah.
It started with a friend that needed help, and they knew that Greg had a helicopter,
Yeah.
and he said, "Yes, I'll get to them and help them and take some stuff up." And then once he got there, that was done. He took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He saw the devastation and came back and. Oh, we got to get more help. Then called on all his buddies who had helicopters and all
Mhm.
that. I mean, it's just a snowball effect. But he's the guy that was the driver behind that. And it's just phenomenal what he did. And, he's blessed to be able to do it.
Yeah.
No telling the amount of fuel he spent to go up. I think one of his posts said day 28 or something like that, or 21
Wow.
consecutively going where
Wow.
it seems like the people were forgotten about, and he
Right.
never did forget, and not forgotten now. And it's still devastation up there. But I just think it's tremendous of what he did.
Yeah.
If there's an award out there for what he did, he should win it,
Yeah.
no matter where it is or what type of award, because he was able to do it.
Yeah.
Others were, but he's the one that stepped up.
Yeah.
And then you had that little group over there at the Little Mountain Airport.
Little Mountain Airport. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they all got together, and we helped them from the museum through our fundraising.
Nice.
We helped them, but that was once again that was the racing community.
Mhm.
Right.
The young man that ran that from the airport there happened to be our car chief on Ryan Newman's car during the 90s.
Mhm.
So it's all ties together. And,
Yeah.
and like you said once before, when they had all those giant floods and everything, we went all the race teams together, and we got two of the big transporters and cleaned them all out.
Mhm.
And we filled those two transporters with toys at Christmas time. And Big Joe drove that whole program and went all the way down to Goldsboro and brought up. I
Wow.
mean, it was just amazing. And what it was the racers. Once
Yep.
again,
Yep.
Always.
they were mounting the trucks. They were
Yep.
passing out the toy. Nobody said anything about it. It was
I
just
know.
amazing.
It really is. I mean, it really is amazing because I think of all of their accomplishments, right? I mean, whatever they won and, awards that they've gotten. And, when I think of a lot of them too, I feel like they're almost remembered most for their charitable efforts,
Mhm.
because they have given so generously.
And continue to do it. And now so many of them have foundations, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
help support. I remember back in the 80s, 85, I believe it was, with Tim Richmond. He was our driver back then. And there was a huge drought in the Midwest. He was from Ohio, and he organized the Hayride 500. And we had plenty of rain here, so they got all the hay that they could get on 18-wheelers and took it to the farmers. And the drivers were
Wow.
driving
Wow.
trucks to Ohio, and they had this caravan going. We're going to help the farmers. So
That's amazing.
yeah, and that's just a driver that said, "Hey, I'm from there. The tornadoes in Arkansas, where Mark Martin's from," and
Yeah.
they stepped up to do things like that. So you don't have to ask.
Right.
They already started. As soon as
Yeah.
it happens, someone in NASCAR is already stepping up.
Yep.
It's like the bat
It's,
signal.
it's a funny thing, because being in it most of my life, I can just tell you this: we want to kill each other on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. You hate each
Yeah.
other.
And but like the two guys that are going to be inducted this year, they were really good friends off the racetrack. In fact, when Jack Roush was running the airplane program, remember, bringing the racers home from the races, one weekend they forgot to bring Biffle back, and so Biffle came to me and he said, "Don, can I ride on your airplane?" Yeah, I said, "Just once," and that just once turned into many, many times.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
All right. Well, we're talking with Don Miller and John Dodson of North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. We are having the Mooresville Motorsport celebration on September 30th. That's in downtown Mooresville. Inductees Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman will be the new 2025 Walk of Fame inductees. All right. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Heart Mooresville on WSIC News. And we're back with Heart Mooresville here on WSIC News, talking with John Dodson and Don Miller, North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. So we've talked a little bit about inductees Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman, who will be inducted into the Walk of Fame in downtown Mooresville. Beautiful, sidewalk presentations. You can kind of stroll and see all of the, past racing legacies that are just, along that street. Kind of like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, like you said. You can take your picture next to your favorite driver. So I'll have two new inductees, Greg Biffle, Ryan Newman, that's September 30th at the Mooresville Motorsports Celebration, downtown Mooresville, 4 to 7 p.m. So the museum itself, really preserves the history and the legacy, of motorsports. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what are you guys doing to preserve that heritage?
Well, I think John and I were talking about it the other day. It's amazing because people come from all over the world. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a nonprofit, so we have no advertising program. What happens is they get on the internet and they see these stories that other people tell about being at that little museum.
Yeah.
I had a guy in there the other day that was from Germany, and he said, "Do you know anything about it, Germany?" And I said, "Yes, my great-grandparents were from Germany." And I said, "But how did you find out about this?" And he said, "Well, I have some very good friends in the Netherlands, and they came here and they told us about it." And I said, "So what did you do?" He said, "Well, then I looked it up on the internet," and he said, "I found out where you lived, and I found out about this town and all the stuff that goes on there." Then I told him about the Walk of Fame, and he said, "Oh, you don't have to tell me. That is the reason we've come." Wow. It's just like John said, it's like Hollywood,
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. People want to see that. It's definitely made an impact on tourism,
Absolutely.
And Visit Mooresville is the presenting sponsor of the event. And you've been working with them for how long now? Oh,
for several years now, and people come here and they stay in our hotels. They're charged a hotel tax. So what do we invest those dollars in? And many people out here may not know, but this is the kind of things we invest in to bring tourism here. It drives business. They eat in our restaurants. They walk down the streets. And then
they leave, which is good, right?
Then they go back. Yeah, for the most part, they do. We're bringing them in.
We're charming
the school's bringing them in to stay.
Yeah.
But and so it's like a Gordian knot. What do you do when you go to a town? If I'm going somewhere, what are things to do there? Well, this is several things you can do. You can go to the Hall of Fame. You can go down to the sidewalk. You can go to Dale Jr.'s. You can take a tour at NASCAR Tech or UTI. Our school. So and race shops, they want to sell souvenirs and people want it. So it's wonderful. And it's wonderful that we have this. And I know that Cabarrus County would love it and other places would love it, but we have it and we own it.
That's right. We were Race City, USA.
That's right.
I think that it definitely represents that so well. Then, if you go to the museum and walk through, just the archives of footage that you have. Those are priceless.
That's just what's out there that people can see. It's not.
Yeah.
We had that little theater in there. It's free, and there's people that come in there and actually stay for 2 or 3 different movies. This one lady told me, she said, I'm from a small town in Nebraska, and she said, "I've never seen anything like this in my whole life." I said, "Well, thank you very much." She said, I watched all 3 movies.
We got to get popcorn. We got to get popcorn in
Yeah,
there, Doc.
we'll get you a little popcorn machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful because it is preserving our traditions, our history, and the things that are in there. You could go in that museum. It's 10,000 square feet, and you could spend 3 days and not see everything that's in there.
Yeah.
There's things from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, every segment, and from all different types of racing.
Yeah.
We had a man in there about 2 weeks ago that was from Rabaul. I said, "Where is Rabaul?"
I don't know if I've heard of Verbal. Yeah.
That's a country.
And so he was telling us that he heard it from some people when he was in New York.
Okay.
He was visiting in New York, and these people in New York said, "Well, where are you going to go?" And he said, "Well, we're going to go across the United States." He said, "Well, if you get anywhere down south, you should go to this museum." And it turns out that this man was a Formula One fan.
Wow.
And he said, "This puts them all to shame." That's what he
Right.
told me.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And you mentioned too, it's not just NASCAR. It's not just, a specific type of racing. I mean, this is really about all auto racing.
Mm-hmm. In North Carolina.
In North Carolina. This is the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. So if you are a fan interested in the sport, North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame is the place to go. They're located right here in Mooresville. And you guys are open what days a week?
We're open every day except Wednesday and Sunday.
Except Wednesday and Sunday. You can always go to their website and find out more information.
You can call. You can talk to Sue.
Yes.
The real heartbeat of
boss.
operation. and we can take tours. We can take bus. We've did white glove tours for blind.
Wow.
You name it. I know
Wow.
a lot of the parents of our students, they go over there. Students get in free. There's a lot to do, but it's easy to get in there. You can call Sue. You can go online on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And we, like I said, we can take groups, tours. We'll arrange it.
That's
And then
exciting.
and we even open up the space for rental at night now for different groups to come in and have their events there, bring in their food. And
Nice.
yeah, and it's really turned on some new opportunities.
Yeah. That'd be a
Mhm.
cool birthday party or something for
Yeah,
a
because everybody
NASCAR
loves it.
fan.
And then
We've
we
got
do
several of
tours
those.
for-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that website is NCARHOF, the abbreviation of North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame.com.
.com.
You can find out all the information. And then the Mooresville Motorsports celebration is 4 to 7 p.m. on September 30th. That's in downtown Mooresville. There'll be a classic car show. Have some 50 plus wonderful cars out there. We'll have some display cars. We'll also have some racing themed activities, a pit stop challenge so you can change a tire on a car and see how good your skills are.
DJ and music.
Yeah, DJ, remote control racing. We'll have some tracks out there. DJ will be keeping that music playing the whole time. And then the ceremony begins at 5 p.m., where Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman will be inducted. So definitely come out. It's going to be a great just community event.
And we need to emphasize the ceremony is in the street.
Yes.
All public is welcome.
That's
There's
right.
no admission. This is a great event. So
Yep.
it's in the street. It's live. We're the Blue Jean guys. We like
Absolutely.
to. This is no tuxedo
No,
event. We like to wear. We might throw a sport coat
Yeah.
on, but we like to keep it North Carolina.
Yeah, I like that. Just throw your racing t-shirt on and
Yeah,
some
come
jeans
on.
and
Exactly
come on
right.
out.
Put on your North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, John and Dawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
We had a great time.
I always enjoy speaking with you guys. All right. Well, come on out to the event. You can find out more information about Mooresville Motorsports Celebration at mooresvilleevents.com. All right. Well, we have some other events coming up in September. September is busy. It is the month of events. We will have September 30th, of course, Mooresville Motorsports. And then after that, getting to October, we'll have the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So we have like some Hall of Fames going on in Mooresville this year.
That's great.
Yeah. So this is the third year in a row that we have had the opportunity to host the NC Music Hall of Fame induction. Music, is a big part of Mooresville culture, and Mooresville has become more of a music destination over the past couple years, especially with the focus on festivals, becoming more of a festival destination as well. People love coming here. We have some great restaurants and breweries and attractions like the Hall of Fame. So we welcome people to come. So this event is at the Mooresville Performing Arts Center, October 16th, 6 to 9 p.m. So we'll be inducting some really great inductees this year from different genres. Robert Deaton, Dexter Romweber, Chatty Hattie.
Yeah.
She was the first Black radio DJ in Charlotte. And multi-platinum recording artist Luke Combs, who actually played at the benefit concert and some of the other, I know some drivers were there to support Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
So he also gave back to the community. So he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame on October 16th. He'll be performing at the event. I mean, when do you get to see, Luke Combs in Mooresville?
In Mooresville, yeah.
Pretty cool. But there are currently no tickets left for that event, as I mentioned earlier. But there will be one final ticket drop. We'll put out a press release. We're going to announce that ticket drop date for those final tickets. So there is one last chance to grab you some tickets to this event. Stay tuned on the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame website. Also follow MooresvilleEvents.com and the Mooresville Arts and Events Facebook and Instagram pages. We'll be announcing that. And you can grab up those tickets, but be online.
Yes.
If it says they drop at 12, be there at 11:55.
Yeah. Just be ready.
Yeah, be ready. But definitely a fun event. So you can always find out about all of the events coming up in Mooresville, hosted by the town of Mooresville or our supporting partners at MooresvilleEvents.com. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been a great show. I always enjoy talking with you guys. We're excited.
Well, I really thank you for having us. And it's going to be a great event, but this has been an enjoyable half hour together.
Yes. We'll have to do it more, right?
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, everyone have a great week. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with Heart Mooresville on WSIC News.